Well, this one really hurts as a Florida fan, but we'll talk about it nonetheless. Folks, we got the news today that Florida running back Trevor Etienne will be entering the transfer portal. He'll have 2 years of eligibility remaining, although you'd have to assume unless something goes completely awry, he will be in the NFL after this season. He's a very talented and capable running back. So in a second, I'll tell you where I think he's going to transfer and what this means for the Florida program and Billy Napier. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's looking very good. Okay, and I like Billy, but this is not good stuff that's happening with the program right now. But first, let's kind of break down his profile as a player. For people who are not super familiar with him or you didn't watch a lot of Florida games this year, long story short, in 2023, he had 9 touchdowns, 753 yards, and 172 yards receiving. And you may look at that and say, well, that's a decent stat profile. It's not bad. But is it really game-breaking? Is whoever is going to pick up Trevor Etienne truly going to get a dynamic player who changes that entire offense? And let me say right off the gate, this stat profile is a little bit misleading. The 753 yards is pretty good, but when you consider that he was actually RB2 for most of the season, also dealt with a number of injuries, especially in the middle of the year. So didn't play in some games. He was, they split time, but he was actually RB2 behind Montrell Johnson. And by the way, maybe playing time is part of the reason why he's transferring. I mean, a lot of Gators fans thought he did not get the ball nearly enough this year. I'll just say this right off the gate. Here's my breakdown on him as a player, okay? First of all, he's got absolutely great breakaway speed, okay? He's really fast. But before you think, oh, he's just a speed back, he's really one of those short, he's a smaller player. He's one of those short guys who's obviously very fast, but also underratedly physical, right? Low center of gravity, really like a bowling ball. You'll see him really run through tackles. He's good at driving his legs very much. And so this is all to say, whoever picks him up, and we'll talk about that in a second at running back, is getting an amazing player, in my opinion. I'll say his one weakness, though, and to address the Gators fans and people who wondered why did he not play more this year? Why did he not get more touches? The one issue he has is he's not a very good pass blocker. Okay, in fact, at times you'll see he's horrendous at it. So for people who think, why, if this guy's so good, did he, have to split so much time with Montrell Johnson? Well, he was not able to pass block. So every time you're dropping back to pass, and obviously Florida this year already had a very shaky and at times inconsistent offensive line to begin with. Well, you have a running back who can't stand there and block the quarterback. Part of it's because of his size, whatever. He's just not very good at it. That's a downside to him. Now, you also have to question, is whatever coaching staff that picks him up going to be able to develop him in that regard? Long story short, I have no idea. This is all to say, though, I think in terms of pure running, forget the pass blocking for a second. In terms of pure running, one of the most dynamic running backs in college football, one of the best and one of the biggest game changers. It's a long story short. Again, this is whoever's going to pick up Trevor Etienne, I think is going to have an infused running game on their offense. Now, where do I think he's headed? Well, first of all, it seemed like an odd decision to transfer out of Florida to begin with. I know, on one hand, he's not gotten maybe as many touches as he wants this year, but still 753 yards. He was hurt a lot of the season. I mean, he definitely did get the ball. I don't think it's just about that. It's also about the fact that he's probably disgruntled with the fact that he's not at a winning program. And so you got to think, he's sick of this losing crap. He's going to go somewhere where he can maybe win a ring in his last season. Now, I'm usually a little bit cautious about players doing that because it's like, hey, look, you may go to a better team, but that also means you might not play as much. And by the way, it doesn't necessarily raise your NFL chances, right? Plenty of eyes are on Florida. There's no guarantee that transferring teams, and I think this is a big problem with the current transfer portal, there's no guarantee that transferring will automatically work out better for you, right? The grass is not always greener on the other side, which is my big concern currently with someone like Dylan Gabriel entering the portal, because you've seen a lot through this year, especially with quarterbacks, which I guess is a little bit different than a running back, but still, I think about Sam Hartman, Devin Leary. There's been plenty of people who said, well, I'm at a program and I'm doing well, but I'm not really winning, so let me transfer to a bigger name program. And then they kind of disappoint and they have a far inferior season. Why? Because again, the grass is not always greener on the other side. With that said, though, to me, I look at this, okay? One of the big reasons it was weird for him to transfer out of Florida and why he probably came to Florida to begin with is his brother, Travis Etienne, plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. His family lives in Jacksonville, so he is basically right up the road at the current moment. So I have to assume wherever he transfers, it's going to be obviously farther away. I don't think he's going to be exactly going across the country. That's number one. Number two, he wants a good team. Number three, obviously, in terms of playing time, he's not going to want to go to a team with a very deep or elite running back room this year. Which honestly, when I look at a lot of the top programs in this country, there really was not a lot of great running back play, maybe outside of, say, Michigan in terms of the top programs this year. I think there's a lot of different teams in need of a game-changing running back like Trevor Etienne. This is all to say, one team I think fits perfectly in that description is Georgia. Right? The Georgia Bulldogs. That's a big thing they were lacking this year. They honestly, I think the last 2 years, they've not really had, you know, Kirby Smart, he's old school offense. He wants to run the ball. They've not been able to do that very well. Then you consider this. Okay, so they're already in the demand for a running back. They do not have an elite running back this year. They're an offense that loves to run the ball historically. I mean, think about Swift and Todd Gurley. I get that might be before actually Kirby Smart's day. But long story short, we know Kirby Smart wants to run the ball. It's not too far from Jacksonville. It's a little bit of a drive. Might have to take a flight, but his family's not going to have to go across the country to see Travis and Trevor play. This is all to say, it hurts. It really does. But I think Georgia is a strong landing spot right now for Trevor. I think everything fits. Again, location, proximity, championship potential. Obviously, he's going to an elite team. Style that wants to run the ball a lot, not an air raid offense that's going to neglect him. Certainly fits in. And again, you know, they're a team very desperately and publicly in need of an elite running back to change it. So this is all to say, I mean, we haven't heard a lot of speculation yet. I might be wrong. I feel pretty strong, and I think it's pretty obvious, actually. Georgia, Athens is exactly where Trevor is headed. So that's my read. And to Georgia, I think, again, being a Gators fan, having watched Trevor play this year, you're going to get a whole new opening of your offense. And if you can get him the pass block correctly, especially, that's going to be even better for you. So rip to us next year for real. That transitions now to what is the state of Billy Napier's program? Because, you know, all the way through October, they were winning some games. You know, we were winning some games that maybe we weren't expected to win. We were, 5-2, I think, at one point. Obviously, number 3 recruiting class that is slowly slipping. You're seeing a couple decommits. Trevor leaving, it's like, that's bad. All right, I'm not going to speculate all too much, but that's bad. Okay? Because I don't think anyone, and I think here's the problem. Is everyone knew that the Billy Napier rebuild was going to take time. I don't think anyone is like, you didn't win the SEC this year. You didn't get 10 wins. But the fact that they didn't make a bowl game, and there were several games that at the end where they should have easily been able to get 6 or 7 wins this year. I think about Arkansas. I think even about Missouri on that 4th and 19 or whatever. Even Florida State. I mean, realistically, that's a game, in my opinion, the Gators were fully in range and should have won and just didn't get done. And I think the fact that you just couldn't pull off any of those things, even if it's really hard to pull off a culture, it's really hard to maintain a culture, I think is what's going on. Because now, if you just got to 6 or 7 wins, people would say this is headed in the right direction. Those few plays that now have Florida sitting at 5-7, not going to a bowl game, I think that really took a hard hit on the perception of culture. I wonder if the locker room fell apart at all. I mean, I'm not sure, although I did see the statistic today. About half of Billy's incoming first recruiting class have now hit the transfer portal. I mean, I like the guy, and when we were like 5-2 this year, and even at about 5-4, I still had faith that, hey, this is a Mike Norvell rebuild. He's going to get it done. But I am hitting I'm not gonna say DEFCON 1, about DEFCON 3, maybe DEFCON 2 on this. I think it's falling apart. I hope I'm wrong about that. But you know, you think about Trevor, this is one of your star players. This is a guy you recruited in your very first recruiting class. He knew he was not going to go to a 11-win team overnight, but he bought into the culture. He bought into the process that was going on there. And you know, he's been one of the most iconic players of your entire tenure so far. And he says, nope, I'm out. I don't believe in this. I'm done with this. Even with the consideration that his family is right up the road in Jacksonville and his brother's right there, not looking good for you, old Sunbelt Billy. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. We'll try to get more sports content out later this week. I know it's been a couple days, been really busy with school and the political channel and all that. So be sure to like and subscribe if you are new for college football content. We should have early predictions for the playoffs and the bowl games coming pretty soon. But yeah, for now, see you guys later. God bless and peace.